Thanks so much for coming today. And this is indeed a beautiful spot, isn't it?
It is.
Fabulous. And it's also, I think, a very important place to launch my campaign. We couldn't think of a better place than here on Granville Island, which is next door to the inspirational community of False Creek. False Creek is vibrant, it's exciting, and it's also environmentally, socially, and economically sustainable. But it's a very sad reminder of what might have been in southeast False Creek if only we had one more vote on City Council. What's happening in City Hall simply has to change. The NPA and Sam Sullivan have meandered aimlessly over the last 3 years. Projects like Civil City, Eco-Density, the Triple R Review, they've gone nowhere. And Peter Ladner has stood by when he could have changed these, where he could have stopped these. Instead, he sat on his hands and he twiddled his thumbs, which is actually kind of hard to do.
I don't know, I wasn't there.
We can do a whole lot better than this. Right now, our roads are gridlocked. Housing is unaffordable to most of us, and our rental stock is absolutely dismally low. We see the tragedy of homelessness on corners in every neighborhood. And those suffering from mental illness and drug and alcohol addiction, they're left to fend for themselves without the appropriate programs to help them and interventions. It's absolutely despicable. And we can't say that there aren't solutions, that these problems are too big for us. There are lots of solutions out there. We know what the solutions are. We don't need more studies, which is what the NPA has done. Experts will tell us exactly what to do. But what we need is political will. We need the political will to do it. And I would love the opportunity to stand up and make a difference.
All right.
Last night about my reasons for running, I realized they're quite personal. They have to do with my parents, my children, and my yet-to-be-born grandchildren.
Your what?
My yet-to-be-born grandchildren.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, Tony. My dad grew up in a family which at one time was the most affluent family in the neighborhood. His father died and left them destitute. He realized that each and every one of us is just a tiny step away from being on the streets. And he taught us that it was our responsibility to make sure that we protect people who have suffered this kind of misfortune. My mom taught us that we were to respect humanity. And I didn't really know what that meant as a child. I thought it had something to do with the people that would show up at our dinner table from time to time, or the children that would move into our house, sometimes for years. But it wasn't until I was studying philosophy that I realized what she meant. My mom, even though she never graduated from grade 9, was a Kantian. She believed, as Immanuel Kant did, that human beings have to be treated with dignity. And what does dignity mean? At the minimum, it means we cannot treat our homeless as garbage that's to be swept out of sight until after the Olympics. It means that we don't merely give them a handout of food or a place to sleep occasionally when it's cold. It means that we give them the kind of security for themselves and their belongings that they need. Provide support so that they can gain meaningful and enriching employment. It means that we have real drug programs that work for the individual instead of slotting people into situations that don't work for them and are ineffective. I have to say that this kind of tragedy doesn't just affect their lives, it affects us. When street corner, every other street corner has someone asking you for money. When people are sleeping on park benches and in doorways, that degrades every one of us every day. So, why do I want to run for my children? Well, to say that I want to make sure that my kids live in Vancouver, that they have their children in Vancouver, and that if and when they have my grandchildren, I can have a relationship with them. You see, I don't think affordable housing is just about where you live. I think it's about relationships and maintaining relationships. And let's think for a moment about the environment that we're leaving for our children and our grandchildren. Our ecosystem is so depleted and degraded and damaged that it honestly frightens me. Pretty soon the experts tell us we will not even have the opportunity to stop global warming. It will be out of our control, and nothing we do will avert this coming disaster. Shameful. Now, climate change is a global problem, but its effects are going to be local. We can expect many more windstorms like the one that devastated Stanley Park. Changes in rain and snowfall are going to put huge stress on our water supply and our storm drains. Our parks and forests will be very vulnerable to fires. Fish stocks will further decline, and food prices are going to continue to rise. But solutions can also be local. We have to invest more in our public and alternative forms of transportation. When gas prices are $10 a liter, let's face it, most of us won't be driving. So it only makes sense that we invest in public transportation. Moreover, we want to make sure our public transportation encourages responsible development and nurtures our businesses. When people talk to me about the NPA's eco-density plan, they say, I get the density, totally got the density. Not too clear on the whole eco thing, no, right? Yeah. Well, what should eco mean? It means that we have to work with progressive developers. We have to create integrated and environmentally friendly communities. We can require the use of alternative forms of energy like geothermal and solar. We can insist that we have heat recapture and on-site waste processing. And we can do all of this without putting additional stress on homeowners. With one more vote on City Council, all of this is possible. We can start in November. This is exciting. I want to run with Vision Vancouver and Gregor Robertson because this civic party understands that change is essential, that people want change, and that change is possible. Vancouver is the greenest city on earth. That is possible. Vancouver that our children can afford to live in, that's possible too. Vancouver that empowers its citizens, absolutely. I want to be part of this movement, and you can be part of this movement too. So I'm only going to remind you one more time. Make sure if you're not already a member of Vision Vancouver, join before you leave. Come September 20th to cast a vote for one more vote on City Council. Thank you so much.